let's begin on Capitol Hill. The ball now, well, which is a bill, moves to the House after the Senate voted last night to pass a funding bill. You had 7 Democrats and an independent senator join with Republicans in favor of this legislation, and it could see a House vote as soon as tomorrow afternoon. So we're almost there. The bill funds the government through January 30th. It also reverses federal worker layoffs and guarantees back pay for those who work during the shutdown. It also includes 3 longer-term bills for various government departments. However, it does not guarantee the extension of healthcare subsidies. That was a central issue for Democrats, and some are furious at Dems who broke ranks.
Well, I think it's one of the weakest deals I've ever seen in my life because they didn't get really anything in return. And this capitulation of these 7, 8 senators shows that they still don't understand the moment we're in.
Other senators were saying that they kept Senator Schumer in the loop the whole time, but it's time for him to be replaced. He is not meeting the moment. He's out of touch with where the party's base is.
All right, CBS News congressional correspondent Nikole Killion joins us once again this morning from Capitol Hill to talk a bit more about this. Nikole, great to see you again. So this bill, as we were seeing, triggered a bit of Democratic infighting. But is there a bigger healthcare picture the party is painting ahead of next year's midterms? Are some taking the hit now because they have a bigger strategy? I'm wondering.
Well, I think they wanted to draw as much attention as they could to this issue of expiring tax credits, and it's certainly not going to benefit probably either party if those premiums explode as they have been and are expected to without an extension of these tax credits. So from that standpoint, Democrats, many of them still want to see action on this issue. It's why part of the deal that cleared in the Senate ensures that there will be some type of vote to extend these health care subsidies in some capacity. Obviously, Republicans say they want some reforms attached, but Democrats did secure at least a guaranteed vote. Where it's not guaranteed is in the House, where Speaker Mike Johnson has not indicated if, in fact, he will even hold a vote on this issue, although he has previously said that Republicans have kind of been working on their own health care proposals. The president, too, has railed against what's known as Obamacare, if you will, saying that the money needs to go to people and not these insurance companies. He says that he's also in touch with Republicans in terms of trying to craft some type of fix. The question is whether that can get done before the end of the year when, again, these premium hikes are set to take effect.
And Nikole, is the House likely to pass this bill? We know the GOP has a majority there. Are they likely to pass the bill and take up the health care issue, considering what you've just laid out from Speaker Johnson?
Yeah, well, again, that really is the million-dollar question for the speaker. You know, yesterday he was asked about it and said, well, you know, you have to build consensus around things, but he has not said that there would be a vote with a date certain. Leader Thune, for his part, has indicated that in his chamber he will try to hold a vote again in early December, hopefully by the second week in December. So we will have to see, you know, from the House, for its part, obviously they want to clear government funding first. So we will see maybe after that if Speaker Johnson may be more committal to trying to hold a vote with respect to extending those Affordable Care Act subsidies.
Yeah, so important to so many people. Nikole Killion on Capitol Hill with the latest details. Nikole, thank you. Now, as House members make their way back to Washington to vote on this new spending bill, they're hearing from constituents frustrated with the shutdown. Republican Congresswoman Marionette Miller Meeks met an impassioned crowd during a town hall last night in Iowa. Watch. All right, and after that man was kicked out in the first 10 minutes, the Congresswoman was met with more yelling by people who disagreed with her support for Medicaid changes and President Trump's tariff policies. CBS News Chief White House correspondent Nancy Cordes joins us now to discuss a bit of this. Good morning to you again, Nancy. You know, Republicans have the White House, they've got majorities in the House and in the Senate. So why are some of their constituents upset? And why is the president calling out former ally in Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene?
Yeah, well, Marjorie Taylor Greene is someone who, for years, President Trump could count on as a stalwart defender, a loyalist, and she's had something of a change of heart in the past couple of months. She has been railing against her own party's leadership, and that includes the president, specifically for allowing members of the House to go back to their home districts for weeks during the shutdown. She felt that they should be in Washington working. If they weren't ending the shutdown, at least working on other matters. She felt that it sent the wrong message to people who were hard at work at home to basically see an empty Capitol and lawmakers scattered to the winds. President Trump was asked about her and her recent views in an interview, and he expressed some disappointment. Take a listen.
I don't know what happened to Marjorie. She's a nice woman, but I don't know what happened. She's lost her way, I think. When somebody like Marjorie Taylor Greene, who's now catering to the other side, I don't know what, I guess she's, got some kind of an act going, but I'm surprised at her.
So this is just the latest example of a little bit of tension between President Trump and a former loyalist. There was also some tension surrounding her exploration of a gubernatorial bid with White House officials suggesting that perhaps is the real reason that she has sought to create some distance between herself and the president.
Very interesting. And separately, Nancy, that the president is now asking the Supreme Court to throw out the verdict in the E. Jean Carroll case. Tell us more about that.
Sure. So you probably recall back in 2023, in a civil case, a jury in New York City found the president liable for sexually abusing and defaming the writer E. Jean Carroll back in the 1990s. They found that there was a preponderance of evidence that back then he sexually assaulted her in a dressing room in a department store in New York City. Ever since, the president has been seeking to get a retrial, to get that verdict overturned. It came with a $5 million judgment against him, and he was turned down by an appeals court. And this really is the last stop for him, is the Supreme Court itself. And so, in a new filing, his lawyers say that they want a retrial because the case was implausible and the testimony stretched credulity past the breaking point. So we're now watching to see if the Supreme Court decides to weigh in on this civil case, and if so, how.
All right, Nancy Cordes with all the big headlines for us from the White House this Tuesday. Nancy, thank you.